Good afternoon. I am Sivarama Prasad, visiting faculty at IARE. Today we will speak about innovation in reference to industry. Last time we have spoken about general innovation, how we have to get the ideas and all. This time we will see some of the approaches in a very infant stage, at any infant stage. See, normally customers, products, and industry. This is the lifeline today, this modern world. These three are very, very important in the market. They are only controlling the entire economy or people's life or general public, how the things are moving. If you see in these, we generally work with M's, 5 M's, we call it as material, machine, method, money. But out of that, we mainly speak about men. Men is, they play a double role. One is, they are the serving people with skills, and their products which are being made, they are being served to the people who are in the market. So, to serve the people, you have to be trained. You should have the skills. You should have the capability. You should have the talent. And with all these, you have to make the products or services to the people who are available in the society where there is a need. But generally, what happens is, these skills have to be acquired. It will not fall from the sky. You have to be acquired. So what happens? The colleges, institutes, industries, they jointly work and they prepare men with skills, and they will be serving the men in the society. Men in the sense, a general public, that means the people. Earlier days, what happened is, people were limited skills, it was just going on, they were managing. But with this industrial age and information age, the things are changing. Whatever is earlier small improvements and comforts which they were doing, it is easily manageable. But today, the old things have become basic needs, and we are dreaming of new things with the desires, passions, choices, and different things. Every day it is changing. So when there is a changes every day regularly, the skills which we have, they are not sufficient to handle this. So we have to look at new skills. And industry is also, what they are doing is, they will not wait for the people who are there. They have to serve the market. So they are moving ahead is like a race, and they want to catch the world and then serve the people with a lot of products. And if you want to be reactive, then it takes a lot of time before they serve the people. So today we are trying for proactive. That means even before the people thinks of a requirement, industry is ready with that, and it always wants to be serving as a predictable thing rather than unexpected items. Unexpected items, you cannot have insurances like, we'll do that, we'll be ready with that, and whenever there is a chance, we'll go. That is difficult. So predictively think it, and by the time people want, you be ready with that. So what is happening? Forecasting the desires and driving the people with different choices of the products is becoming the order of the day. And you are ready with designs and serve some of the unimaginable things you have to imagine today and then do that. This way, what is happening is, people earlier who were thinking of solving the problems and doing solutions, now they have to think what the next generation people will be thinking, what the tomorrow's people is expecting. That you have to think it today. That means you have to forecast and you have to predict and then make a product to suit that. And generally, industry never wants to work with unpredictability, unstable things, unsafe things. They always want predictability, stability, safety, and they want to sustain. Otherwise, what happens is, whatever resources you put, If they become waste, you cannot come back and do next products. So sustainability should be there, so that for some period you will be serving it and gaining the returns. With all this, what happened is, though there are five M's, the fifth M of a men, that is more important, because they are only doing it. All other things are being available in either in nature, or you will get it from process, or you will make it from a machine on that. But the ideas and the processes and the people who are doing it, they become very, very important. So what happened is, educating them, preparing these people with skills, capabilities, or bring in new technologies and different types of workings to match the conditions, on-site, off-site, remote, all those things. And think differently, think before happening, and performance. If you are not performing, slowly you have to perish. Earlier days, you can try all those things, but today it is not, it is in the race. If you are not able to jump, that's all, you are gone. And you have to work onto the excellence mode. So what is happening is, to meet all these things, innovation is becoming the major thinking or approach, where you have to work in the industry to bring new things and offer good things to the market. If you are not getting a new idea or innovative idea, at least imitate it, what is the best in class, and then improve it upon, so that the first phase of the work someone else had done, and you are taking the next phase of the work, so you will get into the market in a better way. Innovation means it is not something a different one. It is all along we were doing, but today you have to do it in a focused way. That is, you have to create a brain or mind or thinking to do something productive, something you should add value to the customer, and you should add new things even before customer is thinking of it. And in case of entrepreneurship, this one only is the major thing which creates the wealth. If you are doing only problem solving and normal things, it will be sufficient only for doing the job. But if you want to create wealth, you have to do something drastically different and something novel. And this entrepreneur who works, he takes care of inventor, he takes care of the new things, and he groups it and brings it to the market. That's why it is very, very important to have a employee, a employer, entrepreneur, and innovation. All these things put together only can give good product in market. Generally, if you see where the innovation comes, mainly there are three things, three circles. Market works on three circles. What is? One is desirable. That means there should be a person who wants you. You means for your product. And that product, you should be able to make it. That is the technology. Third one is, it should be viable. That means as a business, if you want to make, it should be viable. If it is not viable, you can do it once or twice. Third time, you will not have resources to do it. So these three. And when these three are there, suppose only two are working together. Desirable is there, feasible is there, but there is no viable. Then what happens is, product is usable, but since there is no return, you will not be able to, nobody will be able to ready to do it. Suppose it is feasible and viable. That means part is viable and it is possible to make it, but there is no user. You don't require it in the market. Even then, it doesn't work. Suppose viable is there, desirable is there. It is a very valuable one. Everybody wants it, but there is no way you can do it. So what happens? Any two. if it is there, it doesn't work. It doesn't work in the sense it may be working only for few days or just as a spurt or just one time, but it cannot continue it. So you see, the innovation happens at the intersection of all the three. You see the center. That is the place where if you are doing it, it will sustain. Otherwise, you will not be able to do so. So whenever you are thinking your innovation, that idea, you should be able to catch all the three and you should be at the center of this. That is the first principle. Otherwise, you can just think of it, you can talk, you can give lectures, that's all. It doesn't serve the purpose. How it generally generates? Normally, there'll be different problems, different opportunities, different needs in the market. You should first observe that and then imagine, bring it to the imagination mode where you will picturize that in your mind and start thinking on that creatively. That means new things you have to do it, how to solve it, or how to make the opportunity. That is the time where your creativity and innovation, these two work together. Creativity brings in new ideas. They may be foolish or good or bad, everything. You have to take it and you have to bring it into a workable mode. That is where it is useful. Otherwise, it is just an idea. Idea doesn't give any value to the customer. It is only a good idea, they will only appreciate, but it will not serve the purpose. So innovation is the only one thing where you are creating that new item into a doing of the things. That is implementing of the ideas. But after implementing, there should be an entrepreneur who can combine all the things and create value to the market. Just in innovation means I may be doing it in my house and I will be happy. But to take it to the market and give it to a reasonable usability, entrepreneur is required because he commercializes that. Then only the imagination, the needs, the ideas, they are getting into the shape. If you see this three circle, when there is desirability and feasibility, that is the area where it is an innovation of technology. That means you are bringing new processes and you are bringing new methods into the place. Suppose the feasibility and viability is there, that is the process innovation. That means you are bringing in new processes into the picture and you are going to bring it into the major workable processes. Suppose there is a viability and desirability, that is the area where it is emotional because there is a desire, there is viable, but still you have not got into the working mode. So it is just an emotion. It is a brand, the relationships, marketing. So all these two areas, that innovation, then you bring it into the center one, as you said earlier, the intersection of all the three, that is where the real experience of the product comes. So we all have to see for that center one. Other two things, two things, we may be working, they are required, but unless you touch the center one, you will not be able to do justice to the idea. But how this frame works? Normally, what happens is everybody will have a passion to work. There will be some interesting ideas. There are some places or some parts or some groups, some subjects you'll be loving to do it, even without anybody telling you, always love to do it. First, identify that. Then, start working on that to become an expert in that field. When you become an expert, then only you can do experiments and you can have a lot of assumptions and you can work with a lot of opportunities. This and all is initial works. Then You think of opportunities which can be served to the people and set some goals and give some novelty into that. Then do it. This and all, why you should have a passion, love, everything is because only when you have passion, you don't need any pushing. You will work self-generating. And when you are working there, you always try to look at the solution side than blaming side. And initially, this is very much important. Otherwise, you will stop at any place, any stop, and you will just discard it. Once you get into that mode, doing it, then only the mind always works and you will really be able to do a good job. This is about the people's mind and behavior, whatever. But when you want to do anything, you need a place, you need a area, you need a workstation. Normally, what happens is when you see any factory or any place or any work area, there'll be some unspoken communications, there'll be some practices, there'll be some power equations, there'll be some priorities and people who are doing the job. Some people will be working like a mechanically, some people will be working like passion, or some resources will be contracted, some will be in house. So unless you understand all these, you will not be able to really put your effort in a proper way. Because once you say innovation, it is a change. It is something new which is not available earlier. That means it is a new one. New one means many people will resist that change. When people are resisting, the flow will not be so easy. So you have to put a lot of efforts. That is the reason why you should understand first the place where you are working. Generally, there are 3-4 varieties. One is bureaucratic, creative, innovative. The traditional things in the old way, hierarchy, all those things, when it is there, yes, things will move, but you may not be able to give something new. That is the reason why you have to interrupt some traditional ways and you have to question some of the decision making and then some of the processes, and you should experiment with something new and you should collaborate with different people and try that. Then innovative means you'll be questioning the assumptions, you'll be critical about all the things and how you can do it new, how you can do it in a different way, all those things it will come. So these are 3 things at a basic level in any organization. So when you are giving deep thought to that, first is research. It has to come, evolve newly. Then the thought should become into the action. Only then the preliminary work is done. This and all is called in a technology area or in general, they call it as a research oriented work. That means before really getting into that, these are all the things you have to try. And the next one is any product which you are seeing, there will be different values to that. You should know what type of value you are attacking or what type of value you want to give it to the people. First one is matter, that is function and the cost. It is a normal one which is useful for the basic products and all. That means the function should be better and the cost should be less. So you will influence both. You will work on both and give one at the cost of other one. And the second one is communication. Maybe you have a good product, but you have to communicate to the people that this product is so good and there is so much of value to this. So you have to communicate to that. So that is one way. That is If you see a bottle, suppose you have a cough, and on the bottle there is no mention of any pamphlet or symbol or some what you call prescription methods, how to use it and what for it is, then you will not use it. You will have a solution, but you will not be able to use it. So the communication of that, that means what for that product, how useful it is for you, that should be there. Then second one is experience. Sometimes what happens is it gives a memory. Sometimes, suppose I am there, I have going to a exam, and my father gives a new pen. Hey, this is what he said. So after writing that, suppose I got gold medal, then it is a memory. Or sometimes my guru gives with this pen, you do it, you will get. Then I will keep that in my pocket. I will not just like that use it for normal things. So these are some memories. Another thing is spiritual. This is, you can see it in many of the trusts or many of the temples everywhere. You will see there may be a lot of what you call photos and all. They attach some spiritual value to that because it is being sold there. We think that God or that place has added some value to that. So these are all the things which adds value to the product. This is something you have to see. Sometimes it is educational, cultural, or heritage, practical, or inheritance. These are all the different things you have to see. It is not just a function and cost. Much more than that you have to see. Based on that, you get better value for that or better service to the people. Then comes comparison and materialistic value. That is, what is the benefit? What is the cost? Is it net value positive or negative? That means any service, what is the perceived gain customer is thinking, or what is the perceived loss is thinking. He will work out. If the benefits are better, he will buy. If the benefits are not there, he will just see it and then go. When he has to select between two, three things, he will compare with option 1, option 2, option 3. And with that, he'll be buying it. This you have to understand. So, with all these, what finally comes is you have to give a positive change on the net value. Then only innovation has got a value proposition. And that should be perceived by the consumer. Suppose you do it on the bottom line of the company, it will not go to the consumer. He may not be able to visualize that. So it should be visible to the customer. Sometimes you may do only one, or sometimes you may do both. In such cases, when you do it both, that is, increase the benefit and reduce the cost. So in-house, internal things also people are happy. Outside, external customers also very happy. In olden days, it was easier because the people are also contented and the costs are also very liberal and very normal. But today it is not so. There is a lot of competition, a lot of things people are expecting, and brand names, values, cost is also increasing. So these are all possible only with the technology. So earlier days, technology was playing a very backyard role. Today, it is the front role. Unless there is an innovative technology, innovative things, you will not be able to do manage the general thing. That is why what happened is the industry is looking at different types of approaches, different types of innovations. All this is because you have to be ahead than human desire. Otherwise, human desire and then you want to serve. It takes long time and the desire dies. And when you launch your product, he may not think of that. His desire is on different one. So it becomes waste. So what happens? So what industry is thinking is innovate it so radically, so drastically, so that even before you think of it, I am coming with product. Some of the few examples, if you see, in domestic applications, if you see, 50 years back, gas was not there. It was a innovation. In the last 30 years, gas is being used from a simple stove, a special stove, then piped one. And afterwards, gas is moving in an improvement stage. That means the first innovation which is done 30 years back, it is just going in a incremental. That means only improvements. Suddenly, induction stove has come. Then microwave have come. These things are drastic innovations. You never thought of it. You are just using flame and gas. Suddenly you got into electricity. Now you got into waves, microwaves. So these are all innovation. Same way, you see the normal way, how tea is made or how coffee is made, how it was made in the shops, how the boiler was used. Then industrial technology has come. It has totally taken out the traditional household making. It has brought new way of making it by taking the practices of the traditional things and adding the technology. You see these products, vending machine, serving optional, and independently, if you want to do it, you can do it. These three products, if you see, the first three and the next three are totally different. You could have, the man who was making tea 50 years back would have never thought of this. Even if you ask an interview, he will tell normal things, but he would have never explained about this. But industry has thought of it and he started giving it. Today, it is giving it even before you are thinking of it. These are some of the examples. You see, transport or conveyance, normal cycle, gone into moped, gone into a 5 gear one, then got into electric vehicle, then mopeds, scooters, motorbikes, and new things are coming. So transport conveys. And if you go to the car, if you see the first figure, those were the days when there is no starter motor. You have to start with the cranking. Wherever you are, you have to be cranking it, then only move. Then came normal bike, normal car. Then lot of accessories. Today the car is something like a home. You can see from there anything. You can contact your US friend also from there. You can see movies. You can talk. You can see the maps. You need not ask anybody. And you are going towards driverless also. That means just you go and sleep in the car, it will take you to, in olden days, like people were telling you, there used to be a Pushpak Viman where you will just think of it, it will land you there. Like that, maybe a driverless car will come. Same way in telecom, those were the days of landline. Just a call, it will go whenever, whether it reaches or not, we don't know. But today, see, mobile, cardless, fax, pager, cell, it has come so much of innovation. And in the office equipment, a typewriter was there, electronic was there, then desktop has come, then laser printers have come. Today, laptops have come. Today, even the scanners, it is going. That means you are not able to think what you want. Even before that, market is dumped with the products of different choices so that your mind is getting into those things. You see, TV, how the first TV was there, how the first channel was there, and today, how you are. These are all the things, how the innovation has taken control of the market. Normally, when you see different approaches, one is incremental and another is disruptive. When the market is normal and you have very small technology products, you will be doing some improvements that is mainly to cost savings and customer care. You are just solving the problem. Then you will get into a new market. There, there is a low risk, but there will be a lot of competitors. That means, since the product is having a market, people will enter into the market. It is easy, and you are trying to make something new improvement in that is incremental. It is a nominal. Then there is you want to move into the technology and you want to create a new market. Then that is where there is high risk. You have to bring in a lot of technology, but there is a reward. You have to select where you want to be. First, you are in the green. You are safe, but you don't know for how long you can be safe there. So you have to, for day-to-day living itself, you have to work on incremental innovations. But if you want to run on long range, you definitely have to think of something disruptive that is radically change. You have to get into some new technology. Otherwise, after some time, these things will take their own death. So if you see into the segments, there are sustaining, incremental, radical, disruptive. These are some four segments which you will be thinking. First is performance improving is basic. You have to live with that. You have to be improving your performance. Otherwise, you can never sustain in the market. That is a steady and regular process. There is nothing called, okay, I have done something great yesterday, today I can sleep. No. You have to be continuously on incremental things. Without that, you will not be able to sustain even for the daily living. And after that, when you are doing continuously, you become expert and you will be doing some breakthroughs, still retaining in the same market. That is where you have to do something radical. This is market is same, but you are coming out with new products with breakthrough innovations. This will be only for sustaining you. That is, yesterday whatever you thought good, today it is becoming just normal. So you have to think something good for tomorrow. From there, if you want to get into a long jump, you have to be disruptive innovation. That means you have to think ahead and you have to bring in new technology. You have to work more on what people want after 5 years, after 3 years. Then you bring it, work on that, bring it there. But definitely there is a risk. By the time you thought, if the market is thinking differently, there is a risk. But you have to be so perfect. Whatever you are thinking, you have to work in so much on the data, so much on the people's thinking. That's why today what is happening is data management and the studies and the surveys and the statistical methods, they're becoming so important that you have to predict. It is something like an astrology. In olden days, what people say astrology, after 1 month, 1 year, you are going to get into a good position or bad position. Today, it is something like that. With the data available, with the people movement, with the people's behaviors, you are telling what you will be after 2 years, after 3 years, after 5 years. That you are working on that, and exactly when you require, you are bringing it. That is the disruptive. And in that also some incremental things you'll be taking to make yourself comfortable. So sustaining, incremental, new market, disruptive, these are all the new words which people will be talking. So from performance improving, you have to get into efficiency mode and creating a new market mode. These two are very important. That means performance improving, efficiency, market. These three are they become the basic nature of the people who are working for creating new markets. And similarly, you call it in a different way, business model and technology newness. So you'll be working on new business models like bring breakthroughs and bring radicals. And otherwise, in a low segment, you want to do just to bring technology and incremental and breakthrough only you work. So radical is one which is going to take you into the next higher level of living. That is why what happens is you have to take different approaches for different times. One is proactive. That is, you will be looking at what next people want and you are working it today itself. Integrative approach is how you can accommodate with your own existing structures and give some future growth. The third one is forget about all these things. Just think of customer centric, what customer wants, how customer thinks, that you make it ready today. All these three, it is not that only one is good, second is bad, third is very good, nothing like that. Depending on the situation, you have to act one of these. And in a very simple way, if you have to explain, today you are in one field, existing business, you are working on that. You just look at your adjoining by improving, just extend the market, get into the next horizon. Then think of totally transformational. That is looking much beyond your vision. Normally, what happens is if you are working on the existing, if you are very comfortable and you are market leader in that, if you are comfortable in that, it may not be possible for you to continue it for a long time. That is because of the market conditions. So, if you work only on that, forget about the long term, then after 3 years or 5 years, you become obsolete. And that time, you'll not be able to see what the market wants and you will have to get out of it. You can see a lot of companies, a lot of products which we have seen in our last 30, 40 years, how they have become useless or obsolete or gone out of the market. And the new products have taken place. There is another thing. I am thinking about what after 5 years and I will make R&D and I will be working out of it and bring in that. Today I will work with. You have to work for so long, you have to invest so much. There is always a risk in that. And you are leaving the current one and you are not working on the present. Someone else will take it and you may lose the present base itself. That's why what people say is you have to reduce the risk. At the same time, you have to utilize the growth potential. You have to work on all the three, but with a different share of efforts. First, core existing, that you cannot leave it. So you have to work almost more than 50% on that. Then, without improvements, you cannot live even in the core existing one. So you have to work 20% or 30% on that. So always keep improving. And the long term one, you will be investing now, slowly and slowly. By the fifth year, that becomes the major one. And the first core, it may go out, but still you will be in the market. That means, in a balanced way, you have to forecast and put efforts and start working on that. So you are never out of the business. This is on the strategies or approaches. Now, there are two approaches and 10 times of frameworks. What that is? One is on the process, how the company is generating the innovation and how the processes, that is the technology or what you call implementation, execution processes, how they are. That is the process. One is innovation and another is core. These two you have to add value. And the next is offering. That is the product a performance, a service, and the customer service. This is how you are offering it to the public. These two are inside operations. Whereas delivery, finance, service, they are all the outside that is visible to the public. So from inside you are moving out, and from outside you are coming in. In all the cases, you have to bring in something new. Every process, you have to what you have done yesterday, what is expected by customer, and how you are going to improve. Everywhere, every process, that is the customer delivery channel, customer brand, customer experience, the business models, and network and value of the product, value of the business, value of the shareholder, everything you have to improve. Otherwise, any one there is lacking, that becomes the weak link and you will fall in that. Same way, if you see in the profit model, network, structure, process, configuration, it is a more detailed way. And on the product side, product, system, service, brand, customer, engagement, these are all on the external side. You have to attack internal, you have to attack external. Only then you will be able to stand in the market in a decent way. Otherwise, the weak link will make you fall. First, start with left to right. That means from internal, start working and take outside feedbacks, club it, and then give a good product to the customer even before he thinks of it. To do this, you should have a organization. In organization, there are 4 circles which are very critical. One is on the capability side. That means you should have the people who can really work as you want. And people are ready to work, but there should be a structure. That means who will do what roles, responsibilities, and communication, and also decision making, infrastructure for implementation. And another thing is authority, how people can work on that. That is on the structure. Then the culture. Culture is very important. Capabilities are there, but if there is a discouraging behaviors, the capabilities will not see the light. And everybody working together, if there is no alignment, then that is also a problem. Like what we have seen in the beginning, the place, the culture, the speed, the people who are giving respect to the next man, and the understanding the need of the speed, and experiments, sometimes good, bad, failures, you have to consider it in a positive way, then take it forward instead of blaming, collectively take it. These are all some of the cultures. You can see it in any organization, whether it is a positive culture is working, negative culture is working, or military culture is working, or is an open culture is working. These things, this is important. Then strategy. Strategy is it is a path driven or laid by our vision, what is envisaged by few, and everybody is aligned to that and go in that direction and win the. These 4 are very soft subjects, invisible, but they only either make or break finally the product to the market. At the individual level or at the student level or teacher level, organization level, earlier days it was compliance. Today we are speaking about innovation. If you see olden days, it is like collecting the dots, and today it is connecting the dots. What is the total differences is, earlier people were passive, today they are active. Earlier learning was very slow, shallow, and there was no access for knowledge. So it was taking a lot of time. Today it is not so. The way you want to learn, in a very short period, you can learn whatever subject you want. and people are learning it. It is going into a deep learning. Earlier it was just used. Today you are producing. Earlier it was memorize it and do it. Today you are trying to understand, process it, you want to experience it, then do it. Like that at the skill development level. And the same way, the skill sharing level also. Students, they are driving the knowledge. And instead of teacher telling, students are taking that, listening it, and then getting faster and getting into the access to the world, and then coming out with lot of doubts, clarifications, which teacher has to explain. It is not like answering the question. Instead, it is asking and then he is clarifying. At the organization level, earlier it was more on the controls. That is why, because there is already a workforce. That workforce has to be put into one controlled method. Otherwise, they will not be able to work coherently. And they have to make cheapest products and in efficient way. And they have to give it in a more productive way. That is why controls, rules, and hierarchical things were more important. Today, those things will not work. If you are in the rule oriented, then innovation will not come. And if you are in a controlled method, the open thinking will not come. So, everywhere there is simple principles, autonomy, and you want to be on your own, you do it. But once it is useful, okay, we will collaborate and do it. Like that openness, everything has come. So here, a knowledge is required. The people should be adaptable and they should be able to work with new ideas, new innovations, forgetting about the positions, hierarchies. If there is a good idea, even if it is at lowest level, we should be able to take it, respect it, work on that, irrespective of whether it is through proper channel or whether it is through control or whether it is workable, not workable, like that. So the innovation is taking into a different mode of game. It is not like the olden principles. The past, the culture, everything is taken, but it is taken for adopting it to the new world. With all these, it is not that just if you are innovative, you will get things done. When there is innovation, there are some uncertain things also there. When you are working on unknown things and in a different workplaces, different things, there are some things which you have to take. That is easy to like, but less fun behaviors, we call it as paradox. That is tolerance for failure. We are telling innovation. When you are innovating, it doesn't mean that all 100% will be very successful. There will be some failures. And you have to give tolerance for that. At the same time, there has to be intolerance for incompetence. So what happens is here, competent people give confidence to the management. And once confidence is there, management will take a risk on that. That is why before asking for what you call accept the failure, first you should become the competent and create a confidence. Then tolerance will be there from the management. Same way, productive failure or non-productive failure. See, when you have a technology, when you are competent, you will be able to assess that whether it is useful or not. And there may be some small doubts where you want to work on that to make it into a productive one. That is tolerated. Whereas non-productive means just that you will do it. Engineering is not good and you not thought of all the proactively problems and you just made it failed and you are lost, there people will not be tolerant. So you have to be very discriminate. When people say productive failure is acceptable, failure is acceptable doesn't mean that any failure people will accept. It has to be a genuine one. It is a productive failure. From that, you should be able to learn it also. Same thing, willingness to experiment. There will be some uncertainties, ambiguities. You have to find that. Otherwise, when you put into that, if it fails, it is something like a rocket launching. After doing everything, if it falls into the Bay of Bengal, it is that you don't call it as willingness to experiment. Even before doing that, what you have to do is you have to cut into small bits and then see where the uncertainty is there, where the ambiguity is there, where you are not clear. Those things you can experiment. Not that I will experiment finally and if it goes, it goes. Same way, hierarchical, flat organization. If the leaders are very close to the action, they will understand. If they are not close, they may not understand. Then they should have a lot of infrastructure to understand the remotely. That is where flat organization or hierarchical organization works. Psychological safety and also comfort with a brutal candor. That is, when you are working, you should feel safe. If you are always having a discomfort, these innovations, these works, they will not work. So, what does it indicate is there are two controversial things. You have to get safety means first you should be clean. First you should be very sincere. Then you can be sure you will get a psychological safety. And if you are failing also, people will understand and people will tolerate. All these things indicates first you become clear and sincerely work, innovation will work. If you are thinking of shortcuts, if you are thinking of wrong routes, those things will not work and innovation fails. And people also may get different things like accountability, non-accountability, competence, failures. These will spoil the organization. That's why when you are working on these, you have to balance the young, old, wisdom, experience, competence, and speed, accountability, collaboration, teamwork, individual recognitions. All these things, organization has to be very, very focused. Otherwise, in the name of innovation, companies will get, instead of a disruptive innovation, a company will get into a disruptive mode. So, we have to be very carefully manage these negative things. So, finally, what happens is when you are looking at the product, don't just look at surface level features and functions. They are good, but you have to go one step deeper and understand what is the experience, what is the emotion, what is the deeper meaning in that, and work on that and try to give a product with that. And it is practical application of the ideas. There are two things, customer orientation and user centric. You have to work on these. Otherwise, as a technology, if you are giving a product, it may not be really user friendly or it may not be customer oriented. What he wants, you may not be giving. Sometimes it happens, especially when you have a passion for technology, you'll give a component which may not be working for the customer. With all this, what happens is you have to give what the fish wants. That means when you go for fishing, you have to give what fish wants. It is not that what you want, you will give it. So innovation, in the name of innovation, if you give something which customer doesn't want it, it may not work. And another thing is, it need not be ideas only yours, you are coming from your organization, from inside. You should be able to accept from everywhere and brainstorming, combining of ideas, new thinkings from anywhere, take it. And your goal should be to do good, not that it should be mine. I want to patent it, I want to do myself, not like that. If you want to give a good idea, accept it from anywhere, be open. Finally, innovation means it should be at your heart of the business and not just for doing something for the name's sake. It should not be like that. It should be from the core, you have to do it. And every day, once you start, you have to do it better. And people will be expecting you. Once you are, for example, you take when you are going for a match, if you are already a score winner, match winner, every time you go, people expect you will hit it. So you cannot go down. Innovation is like that. Once you start, once you getting into the mode, you should always keep on thinking, and giving it good products to the people. This is how you have to be. And with this general thinking, you prepare your mind, body, everything to work in a new way, and new expected ways, and forecasting things, and building the skills, and giving the products which really the user and the customer wants. Then it works and it gives a joyful life. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.